This month in Poppy Loves Book Club, we read The Taxidermist's Daughter by Kate Mosse, published by Orion.
Hello everyone, welcome to Poppy Loves Book Club, the first one of 2016. This month we have Kate Mosse with us for The Taxidermist's Daughter. Welcome, Kate.
Lovely to be here. I'm very glad to be the first one.
Thank you. So let's go straight into it. You are from Fishbone and
Yep.
The book is based there. What did the locals think of the book?
Well, that is actually a brilliant first question, because that was the thing I was worried about. Because I grew up in Fishbourne in the 60s and 70s, and then, went off to university and then moved back with my family, my own young children, and walk all the time in Fishbourne. It's a place that I love, and it was very important to my parents. And when I finished the book, I thought, oh my God, all their friends are going to go, what? This is just like a crazy book. And so then I kept feeling that I had to say, it's all made up, none of this is real. But actually, I think it's that thing that we all love to read stories set in somewhere we know. And everybody local who lives in Fishbourne notices, I don't want to give anything away here, but notices that the really grim stuff happens the other side of the creek. So everybody in Fishbourne was, yeah, Fishbourne is okay, and the other side of the water's terrible. So everybody's really proud, actually.
Apart from being an incredible author, you also co-founded the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction. How did you get involved with that?
Well, I got involved in that there's a thing, and everybody to do with Poppy Loves Book Club knows this, that sometimes you're just the one person left standing when the music stops. And so all the work falls into your lap. No, so on a serious level, in 1991, there was a Booker Prize shortlist that had no women on it at all. And in that year, we did the research afterwards. About 60% of novels published were written by women, and published in the UK, that is. And maybe 75% of novels bought were bought by women. Wow. But yet no women on the list. So a group of us started to, talk about it, and nobody noticed. That was the thing, because judges have the right to choose the books they love. But it was more that nobody noticed there weren't any women on the list until journalists started to go, hey, there's no women on this list. And then lots of us started to think, just imagine if there'd been no men on the list. And the minute you do the flip test when it comes to men and women, it reveals it for what it is. Everybody would have thought it was political, they would have thought it was deliberate, they would have thought some point was being made. But because it was the other way around, just nobody noticed. So out of that, we thought, what are we going to do? Because it's not that you can't put quotas on prizes in art, but you can say, what is it that makes judges think that work by men is literature with a capital L, and books by women, somehow books by women over there?
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty annoyingly chirpy person, and I like to do stuff rather than sit around and moan about stuff. And there were lots of people, men and women, who felt the same. And so we decided, rather than moan, and nowadays everybody would go on Twitter to have a go, but that doesn't change anything. So we thought, well, we'll set up a prize, an annual prize, an international prize for books written by women from anywhere in the world. And we will therefore know that every year there will be 20 in the long list, 6 in the short list, and then 1 winner. Outstanding novels by women will be celebrated. And it was all about saying women's work is great and important. After we'd done it, there were lots and lots of attempts to make it all cross and angry, and people kept saying to me, you're obviously very angry, and I was going, no, we're here to celebrate these books. But I feel really proud of it. Everybody who's involved, we feel really proud of it. We're going to be 21 this year. And there have now been hundreds of thousands of novels that have come out of that, have been supported through it, not just the prize itself, but all the education things. And it says every year, creativity by women matters as much as anything else. That women and men should be judged as artists, that women all over the world should have access to reading and writing. And it's just about supporting other women. And as a woman, I think that is one of the most important things you can do.
Yes, goodness. I feel like it resonates a lot with what we do at Poppy Loves.
Yeah.
And also a lot of what we were speaking about previously is social media. How do you think social media has affected publishing and writing today?
I think this might be an unpopular thing, and it might also be because I'm in my 50s and I maybe am less nuanced about it, shall we say, although I do use Twitter and I enjoy Twitter. But truthfully, do I think it's influenced it? No, I don't. I think that there are things that have come out of Twitter and social media that are about access, that are about democratization of opinions, about other people's voices, about visibility. I think there are some things that social media are terribly good at, particularly diversity, the issue of why is publishing still so appallingly white and middle class. There are certain issues that I think social media has been very good at putting a spotlight on. But I also think that there's been a great negative downside in a lot of social media, which is a lack of free speech. That when people express an opinion, there is sometimes a rush to make judgment. I think a lot of it's very judgmental and poisonous, and I don't think that always benefits women. And I think that in terms of the quality of art, I think in the end, writing, and I'm a writer, is about sitting on your own, thinking, being quiet. And sometimes I think the immediacy of social media means that it's a challenge to not use your words too quickly. It's very easy when you're stuck to think, oh, I'll just go and check Twitter or muck about on Facebook. I don't do my own Facebook, but my publishers do. And I think for a writer, you need to have time when you are doing nothing but thinking. So, for example, I don't take my phone with me when I go walking in Fishbourne. You know, when I'm walking, I'm thinking about things, people I love, my dog being naughty, the next bit of work, but I'm absolutely not engaging with a bigger world. And I think that is, you know, the downside of social media, that people don't give themselves enough time to think.
Going back to your writing, in particular for this book, I've heard that you are a vegetarian.
Yes.
And had to go to some taxidermy classes?
I did. I went. I think obviously with any book that has an element of research in it, my main work, if you like, is big historical fiction. And what I do is write lost women's history. That's what Labyrinth, Sepulchre and Citadel are about. They're about the women who've been written out of the history books. And that's what I really care about. But in between those big books, where I spend lots of time on research, I write, you know, gothic thrillers, Taxidermist's Daughter, The Winter Ghost, The Mistletoe Bride, which are ghost stories. And so they have much less research in them, but they have a bit. And The Taxidermist's Daughter is set in 1912. It is a gothic thriller. It's the story of Connie. And the idea for it came about in that, in 1912, women were not allowed to be taxidermists. I mean, you know, I never got any explanation for that. And I started to think, well, if your beloved father, with whom you live, has been ruined by something, and he has turned to the bottle, so what happens? His hand shakes. If your hand shakes, you can't do taxidermy, because it's very delicate. And so what would a daughter do? Well, she'd do it in secret. So the story had come out of that, the need for her to be isolated, the fact that the social restrictions on women meant that she couldn't own up to it, all of these things about isolating your gothic heroine. And I thought I could get away with not doing it, because I am vegetarian. I do cook meat with a long, squeaky spike, you know. But my husband, my son, my daughter, my son-in-law, as I think of him, they are all brilliant cooks. So I am number 5 on the list of ever, you know, only the dog wants me to cater for him. So it doesn't come up very much. And so I never handle flesh, you know. But as I was writing, I really admire the skill of taxidermy. It's incredibly delicate. I'd interviewed lots of taxidermists, discovered that taxidermy was now a really fundamental part of art. And almost every taxidermist I met was a young woman in her late 20s or early 30s who'd come out of art school. So this was all really quite interesting. But as I got further into the book, and I respected it more and more and more, I thought, I cannot do justice to writing that scene with Connie and the taxidermy if I don't know what it feels like. And a lot of it came from the fact that when I would say to these lovely young women, so tell me, what does it smell like? And they'd go, well, it doesn't really smell of anything. And I would go, I don't think that's true. And then I would say, what does it feel like? Tell me what it feels like. And they'd go, well, you know, well, just, you know, it feels. And I thought, I'm going to have to do it. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever done in my entire life, and I will never do it again. Never do it again. I couldn't get the smell out of my head for ages.
Wow.
But it was absolutely essential for writing the book. And that's what any research is about. You know, when I was writing Citadel, which is set during the Second World War, my lead character is a leader of a women's resistance unit. I was taught to shoot. Now, I'd never even held a gun before, but I knew I couldn't write her convincingly, so that a man or woman picking up Citadel who knows about guns would not stop reading because the description of what I was writing was so poor that they lost confidence in my story. And that's why research matters.
Yeah.
That if you notice things are wrong, you lose you don't care about the characters. And so that's why I do so much research, but I will never do it again.
Well, let's move away from that and let's try and picture your perfect day. So what would the perfect day be for Kate Mosse? Where would you wake up?
Well, in a bed. I'm far too old to sleep on floors and baths and on aeroplanes and all this sort of stuff. I suppose I love my house at home, Sussex, but there's nothing quite like waking up in our tiny little house in Carcassonne in the southwest of France and waking up as the light wakes you. I wake very, very early. I always wake up, but usually this time of year before the light in the winter, but in the summer always, you know, 4 in the morning. And looking out of the window as the light comes up over the medieval city of Carcassonne and seeing the wall and the pink as the sun in the east just strikes the old stone. And that, for me, every morning as the birds start singing and the light comes up, that's all I want, an open window and to see that.
Is there any particular food you would eat?
I always thought by this age I would be one of those people, you know, that chopped a load of fruit up, had yogurt, but I'm afraid that in the end, every morning I think I must have a healthy breakfast, and every morning I have Marmite toast, almost without exception, and that's it for me. You know, there's just that little kick of salt and, you know, a little sort of to get going. And so, but I write very, very early in the day, so I always have, when I get up, a strong coffee, and then with breakfast I have another coffee with lots and lots of sugar and Marmite toast, and that's it for the coffee.
So salt and sugar first
Salt
thing.
and sugar first thing.
And is there
Fruit later.
Is there any particular music or radio station you'd be listening to?
No. When I'm writing, I need silence. I like the sound of the world. I really love to hear birds. I don't mind hearing trains or traffic, you know, but I like to be connected to where I am. I never walk around streets with headphones in. I like to be in the world, not isolated from it. If I was going to listen to music, it would be at the end of the day, if I was in the kitchen with family, maybe cooking a meal with a glass of wine, and then, as my children, if they were here, would tell you, I have woeful music taste. So I'm afraid it's, you know, very much, we would be listening to ABBA.
Oh God.
My son's an actor in music theatre. I'm quite keen on music theatre. Obviously, the last few weeks, listened to nothing but all the David Bowie, because that's the soundtrack to my time. But when I'm writing, I do listen, if I'm in the gym or running or something like that, to music of the period I'm writing about. So classical music. I used to play the violin and the viola, and I still play the piano. And so that is, for me, a really brilliant way to get into a period. So my new series of books are set in the French Wars of Religion in the 15th and 16th centuries. So at the moment, I'm listening to those sorts of madrigals, those sorts of psalms, that sort of court music. And it's just the quickest shortcut to putting yourself back. And there's that amazing thing when you think people 500, 400, however many years you're writing back, listen to that music, and you are connected to them through that melody line. So I have totally different types of music depending on what I'm doing.
Wow. Oh, I think we could be talking for ages more, but I can see the members are arriving, and pretty soon it's going to be 7:30 and we need to start our chat. So thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you, Annabelle, it was lovely.
And thank you everyone for watching. Bye.
Poppy Loves Book Club is no ordinary book club. Poppy Loves Book Club sees women from all around the world, all reading the same book at the same time. And then we all come together online on the last Wednesday of every month to discuss it. The really exciting bit is often the author joins us as well, so you can post your questions to them directly. If you would like to join Poppy Loves Book Club, it's really, really easy. There are just 2 things you need to do. Number 1, sign up. Number 2, join the Poppy Loves Book Club Facebook group. Just head over to my blog, poppyloves.co.uk, and follow the links to Book Club. I really look forward to seeing you online soon.